What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tell Me More podcast presented by the Real Estate Cheat Code. I have the one and only Jamie Maze with us, with Maze & Co. at Cutler Real Estate. Jamie, thanks so much for jumping on here and just sharing your story.
Sure, absolutely, my pleasure.
I'm pumped. You and I have done business before in the past over the years. And obviously we see each other, social media friends, all those things, but I don't know your story. I don't know your journey, of how you got into the business. And, with the Tell Me More podcast, my passion is helping agents get into this business, right? And showing agents that, for you to find success and to be successful, you don't have to do it the way that others have done it, right? Or, the cliche, you got to go and be a top listing agent, or you got to go and dominate a certain part of the market, or you got to go and call FSBOs expireds and canceled. So I'm excited to have you share a little bit of your real estate journey, and, just kind of how you thought about building your business. But before we get there, we always start about the very, very, very beginning. And what was
Wow.
life like for you growing up?
Wow. So I grew up on a farm in
Okay.
northwestern Ohio. So I have mad respect for farmers. They work harder than anybody out there. Loved it. Didn't realize we were that poor because we had everything we thought we needed. But it was a great youth, great growing up. And it was a small town though. So when it became time to figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, tried college, didn't love college. It was fun, but I didn't go to class all the time. And honestly, so college is not for everybody. You can be
Yeah.
successful without college. Worked in a factory for a while, started dating my now husband, and just decided that there was more to life than this tiny little rural town. So we moved
Yeah.
to Columbus, and that was probably 38 years ago, and never left.
What part of Northwest Ohio?
St. Mary's, Ohio.
Okay.
So there's Grand Lake, St. Mary's. If
Yep.
you know anything about lakes, that's
Yep.
there. So didn't even realize how cool that was growing up. I mean, I had friends with boats and we had all kinds of fun.
Is it Eldora? Is that the
Eldora
dirt?
Speedway's not far. Yeah.
Yeah, the dirt track?
Are you from there?
No, but my
Where are
wife's
you from?
I'm from Northeast Ohio. So I grew up
Okay.
south of Youngstown, but I have a friend that's from Van Wert, and his sister
Yeah.
lives on the lake in St. Mary's. And growing up in small towns, I never went to dirt tracks or anything like that, but I have a very good friend that grew up going to that. And that's a whole nother, experience right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we did tractor pulls instead of that. Instead of
Yeah.
speedways, like yeah, at the fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you tried the college thing. Initially, what did you go for?
Good question. I don't even remember.
Was it just one of those things for you that
All my
family was
friends
like,
were
"Oh, this is
going.
the next step," or
No, my parents didn't care. My all my friends were going, and so I picked one, and I was my roommate was my best friend, which was not a good thing to do. We had a good time for a while, and then reality hit, and I was like, yeah, I'm just wasting money that I don't have, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
tried it all over again.
So you mentioned 38 years ago, you kind of moved to Columbus.
Mhm.
Did you die? Was that when did you kind of take me down your career path up to the point of deciding that you want to be a real estate agent?
Okay, so we moved to Columbus. My husband, he worked for a loan company in St. Mary's. So he had a college degree. So some people need those. But he transferred to Columbus and worked for Prudential, sold insurance for a while. And so I worked at Northland Mall. I was an assistant, so I was in retail, another really hard job to do.
Yeah,
Worked one Christmas and decided I was never doing that again, and got an office job. So I sort of climbed the ladder a little bit in that scenario. And then I had a baby, and 2 years in, I was like, I'm not seeing my child.
Yeah.
driving to Dublin like at 7 a.m., coming home at 7 p.m., just in time to pick them up from daycare, wash and rinse and repeat, So I walked away from it. I said, I'm just going to quit my job. And I lost my mind. 6 months later, I have my real estate license.
Wow.
My sister-in-law just suggested, she said, and she was an interior designer, so she was working with Bob Webb and a lot of the parade builders. And she just said, I think you'd be a good realtor. I'm like, what is a realtor? What do they even do?
Yeah.
I respected her a lot, thought a lot of her. And I thought, okay, I'll check it out. And thought this would be a great way to work part-time, to do anything I wanted to do and make some money. And once I started, I never looked back. I was never part-time. Just loved it.
What year was that?
Really? It was 1992.
Okay.
Yeah. My 34-year-old was 2 years old.
That's interesting because especially everything that's going on right now in our industry, that's when the whole buyer side of the business kind of took place a little bit,
Well, interestingly enough, we found out we were having a baby. I didn't want to stay in an apartment. And that's when I did work. I think I was still working at Madison's at Northland Mall at that time. And so I didn't have a real estate license. And I was referred to this great realtor. We did a new build after I looked at like 2 or 3 houses in my price point, which was like $87,000. And I was like, oh, gross. I can't live in other people's filth. And so we built our house. And I was like, well, that's not so hard, right? And so I thought, well, when I decided maybe this would be something I could try, I went to that realtor's office, which happened to be Coldwell Banker in Uptown Westerville at that time. And so it was a great place to start.
So when you got into the business, instant success, struggles, what were some of the first, initial few months? How did you think about growing your business? What were some of the things that, agents told you to focus on?
Well, back then, John, there was an MLS book this thick. And I thought I was a high roller because I paid for 2 of those books. So I could share with my clients and still have one. It's interesting because it was so different then.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about teams. In fact, we put down agents that had assistants. Like, you're never going to get that agent. You're only going to get their assistant. Like, I don't know why, but that was the mentality at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I did okay. In my first year in the business, I can't remember how many closings I had, but there were people in that office that didn't have any, and they had their license before me. So I didn't really struggle. What ended up happening is my husband decided he wanted to be a stockbroker, and we didn't both want to be commissioned. So I said, okay, you go do that. I'll get a job with benefits. He did that for maybe 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years. And he's like, yeah, I'm out. I'm going back to my corporate job. And I said, thank you. And when I went back, I went to a broker who had stayed in contact with me. No one else did. And I went back to him and asked him if he needed a buyer's agent, if he needed an assistant, because I could tell the market was changing and I wanted to be at Remax. Like, I was at Remax for 28 years. I'm a Remax girl.
Yeah.
And I knew that that's where I wanted to end up. So why not go there and work with someone, which was the best decision I could make.
Yeah.
And he actually shared me with another agent who I was with for 12 years. His name is Jim Stewart. He's no longer with us. He is up in heaven, and he was my mentor. And I was with him for 12 of the best years, hands down. That would probably be one of my biggest recommendations for someone.
Yeah. Because
it was during the years where I was having babies. They were doing things like, it was just, I don't know, there was a lot of security in that. And it was a perfect fit, just a perfect fit. I could still do, listings under him, and he gave me all his leads because he didn't want to deal with the people calling on the listing signs because it took, a while for people to be the Zillow world that we deal with now.
Yeah.
So it was perfect. Yeah. And I was with him for 12 years. My next gig, I went out on my own at another Remax office, but that's just kind of how I looked at it.
Let me ask about those early years. Was it more of those that control, because the reason why I'm curious about this, right? Because usually, history repeats itself, and a lot of people think that now our industry is going to change back to listing dominant agents, and buyers are going to be going directly to
I
listing
don't think that's
agents.
going to happen. Yeah.
Is that how but was that how it was when you got into the business? Did the agents that controlled the listings kind of control the market, or no?
Well, it was more of an even market. Like, to me, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I was probably afraid of listings because I was new. I was a newer agent. I was younger than most people in the office. And I liked working with buyers. They're fun. You get to build a relationship. You put them in your car, then drive them all over, because you might have had 18 houses on a Saturday. We don't have that now, but
Yeah.
I loved it. I was fine not doing listings. I did listings, but I was definitely heavy buyer side. A lot of first time buyers.
Yeah. And did
So,
you
I mean, there were some people that did more listings than other people,
Sure.
but I don't know. It wasn't the way it is today.
Yeah. And when you decided to kind of, make this leap of faith into real estate, people think you're crazy? Did they support you, doubt you?
My husband didn't like it. Didn't want me to do it. Has doubts, but he's super conservative. Like,
Yeah.
just you don't know when your next paycheck's going to be, those kinds of things. He just didn't love it. That was probably the first time. Second time, he was better. And now he's on my team, John. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when you came back, you went to be that assistant role, right? That buyer's agent role. And you said it was the best decision, that you made. And I'm there with you, right? Like, I wish that there would be something to where, agents have to go and join a team, when they get in, because it's not about just leads, right? It's the support,
no,
it's the
definitely not.
knowledge, it's the mentorship, it's bouncing ideas, just questions, right? In general. So how did you specifically think about building your business? Was it all just word of mouth, SOI, or did you guys
Did a lot of open houses back then, and some of it was people. I mean, obviously, probably the most part was people I knew, but I didn't know as many people then.
Yeah.
So sign calls. Way in the beginning, we actually had floor time, which was amazing. But yeah, so it's hard to even think back. But I love doing open houses because I did really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lead me up to, you joined a team, right? So you got into the business, right? Then you took 2 years off, and then you came back, team agent, right? On the team for 12 years. Then you decided to kind of start branch off, do your own thing. Kind of lead me through that next phase of your real estate career. And when did, obviously there's the recession, within your career. So I'd love to
Oh, and I have a good story about that.
yeah, and I would love to
I didn't even write this down, but
I need to hear the lead up to kind of '08, because I think a lot of times in '08 there's a lot of the agents that survived, that I've had on here that have been in the business, or that I've talked to over my career, is really the ones that made the pivot, right? During that time. So kind of what was that career path like up until '08, and then kind of dive into that market.
yeah, so I can't remember exactly what year I went to be at my second Remax office, because that's when I left Stewart and I was out on my own. But I was an at-home agent. Like, I didn't pay the bigger Remax fee. I did a lower version of it. So because I was in Remax for so long, I was in the 100% club. For those of you who know what that is. And so I just tried to keep my costs down. I knew you had to spend money to make money, but I wasn't there mentally there yet.
Yeah.
And so I was an at-home agent, and doing pretty well. And one day, a storm rolls in and lightning strikes my house. It sounded like an alien was inside my
Oh my
home.
gosh.
It hit our fireplace and bricks everywhere, put a big hole inside of my house. We lost all of our TVs, all of our office equipment, like nothing worked. I had to replace everything. But what that did was it made me go into the office
Yeah.
and get an office. And I can remember thinking, people, in my head, like, you need to be in the office once a day. And I'm like, bullshit. You don't have to be in the office. I can do this from anywhere. Well, not everybody is as good as everybody, right? I mean, so I do better when I come to the office. So fast forward, I go into the office, I make new relationships with different agents in the office. And so that was before 08, but when 08 hit, I was mostly everything was relocation.
Yeah.
Which
Interesting.
saved me.
Interesting, because I'm trying to think if I know anyone that went through that time that has said that's how they built their business. Typically you hear REOs, short sales, right?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
not, I don't think I know anyone that said relocation is what I focused on during that time. I'm curious to kind of learn a little bit more how that worked.
It wasn't even a focus. It was just that opportunity was there. Being in the office allowed me to build relationships with the relocation group of the office. And looking back, like I looked at my closings, it wasn't great, but it got me through. For sure. And so yeah, that just was a gift from God. Like I can't take credit for that. He struck my house, which moved my butt in, and that's how it all worked out.
Well, you can't, because at the end of the day, I said the word pivot, right? You were willing to change,
You had to, or you would not make it.
Right. Well, even the mindset of like, hey, I got to go into the office, right? Like, yes, I know physically your house was, no longer there, but you could have, wherever you were staying or whatever, right? You could have said, oh, I'm going to do things just here. And I'm a big believer. It's hard to put a value on things like that, because you don't always know when that return is going to come, right?
For sure.
Obviously you were in the office way before 08, and so that was that opportunity because you were able to build those relationships, and that opportunity presented because you were there, right? And
I think that it's also important, especially for a newer agent, because there's so many people that work at home, and there's nothing wrong with that. But being around other agents that have the right mindset and experience to help you, I think there's no amount of money. I mean, it's kind of priceless.
I mean, I hope those that are watching this so far, are paying attention. There's two things that I always tell agents: team and mentor, and get into the office. Like
those are my two things.
Yeah. So lead me up to, you make it through, 08, 09, relocations kind of was something that you had going that kind of helped you get through those lean years. On the other side of that, kind of lead me up to how you built your business, and now you have a team, right? Like, when did you get to the point of saying, okay, now it's my time to go out and actually, build a team, build a business, and have agents underneath me?
So I got into coaching 10 years ago, and that's what did it.
Okay.
That's what did it. But coaching all by itself is one thing, but my mindset is, I've always been super positive, but the mindset and just the all that I get from the people in the ecosystem who I've been coaching with for this long, invaluable.
Yeah.
And so that's what started it.
Yeah, I think that is simply looking at it as an investment and not as an expense.
Oh, and the ROI is huge. I mean, right now, I just went to a coaching event yesterday in Indianapolis, and I took my son, he's 24, Jacoby, and he's on our team now, and took him because It was basically how to talk to your clients
Mm.
and what to send out, what to say, and the right things to say. And it was really cool to watch him just like be around that for the first time, really. And he was like, "How much is coaching?" And I was telling him, he goes, he in his head, adds it up. That's how much that is a year. I go, "Oh, you have no idea. Like, it pays for itself. Like,
Yeah.
just the referrals I get from the other people in the ecosystem. Like, I don't know how many I've had so far this year, at least 4. I'm like, it pays for it. But on top of that, all the stuff that you get. I think when I originally signed up, I had an assistant, but that was it. And I was drowning in leads. Like, I was just like, oh, I'll do this one day. I'll do this one day. And nothing was ever happening. I just got tired of saying it and thinking it. And I knew if I had someone hold me accountable, I would probably get more done.
Yeah.
And I did. And it works.
Accountability is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
When, especially if you're a person of your word and your word means something and you tell someone you're going to, I just had this conversation today with some agents, and it's like, coaching to me, it's not always going out and, 2xing, 3xing your business. There's
No.
so much more to that, that environment, and depending on where you're at in your business and what you're trying to get out of it, right? Like for you, you mentioned, I'm taking notes, right? And it's like the 4 key things so far in your career: you joined a team, you went into the office, you got coaching, and it helped your mindset, right? And it changed,
Yeah.
maybe not,
Mindset's the biggest. Yeah.
yeah, maybe not helped your mindset. That's changed your mindset, right? Like,
Completely.
being in those rooms and having those conversations allow you to see things differently and allows you to think bigger. And
There's people that I'm rubbing elbows with and I'm learning from, and we're trading ideas and they do more business. I mean, like, we think we do a lot of business here, and then I meet someone in Boston that's doing, it's like, holy shit. Like, I know
yeah,
that, but I'm going to learn from them, because you always
yeah,
want to be around those people. You just do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, I just encourage anyone listening, tap into those, reach out to Jamie, right? Like, a lot of agents around you, I don't care what marketplace you're in, there's agents that are willing to, offer the advice. And like, I think that was one of the things that I was fortunate. I got licensed in August of 2011, and I think my first conference was October that year, right? That I
Wow.
went to.
That's
And so,
good.
like, and that was only because of my team lead and my mentor, right? That's just what
Yeah.
he did, right? He already had the coaching and was paying for it. And so I just tagged along, and I don't know any different. COVID was like a weird year when I didn't go to any conferences, right? Like, I just always
Yeah.
went to conferences. So it doesn't matter what it is. I always just try to encourage agents to get into rooms, right? Get
Yeah.
around new people. And because it's going to allow you to expand your thought process and your thinking of your business. So how many agents do you have now on the team?
Well, we had 5. One just had a baby. So
Okay.
his wife did, he didn't, but he needed a job with benefits. So he bowed out. And then another girl bowed out for just different issues. And so they both have their license in like a referral system right now. So they
Okay.
both hit pause. So right now I just have me, my son Jacoby, and my husband that are
Okay.
licensed. And then I have a full-time assistant.
How's the family dynamic with the work
Oh,
thing?
you have no idea. That's why I come to the office.
I couldn't look. There's no way I could work with my wife. So,
I fought it for years, trust me. And my coach at the time, she met him, and he's delightful. He's like the
yeah.
funniest guy and so much fun to be around. And she's like, "Why isn't he on your team?" And I was like, "Shut your mouth." And she was like, "I think he should be on your team." And guess what? He's on my team.
Any because I'm not familiar with that dynamic. And maybe someone watching, or listening to this may, have someone that they're thinking about getting into the business with them, or joining the person. Any tips or learning lessons or things that you could share?
Yeah, the best advice is you both play in your own lane. Don't how do I say this? And that's the most advice that as I was going to conferences and talking to families that husband and wife is there, they're like, he has his responsibilities, you have your responsibilities. Like in a perfect world, he wouldn't sell. He would just run the back end and I would be the person. And sometimes I am, but like that position also needs to know how to do the computer stuff and the IT, all of those things. And he's not strong in those areas per se. So, but we make it work. He really helps me immensely. I mean, I looked at him at one point because I kept fighting it. And I just said, just retire. You know, I need your help. And that's really, I give him a list and he goes and takes care of things. Like it's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I know we're kind of limited on time and I want to make sure we kind of switch gears real quick. So I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Any goals that you're looking to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Yes, I would. Well, I'm in the process now of hiring a new assistant because my sweet assistant who's been with me 2 years is going to London for an interior design 3-year gig. So I'm losing her at the end of the summer. But I mean, I'd love to have 7 agents and 2 admins and me.
That's awesome. 5-year goal for you.
Jacoby running it.
What do you think that you would have to have in place in order for that to happen?
More people and a better system. I don't know. I love and hate systems, but I have yet to find the perfect one. So I'm still looking. I went to a conference a couple months ago and my husband said, do not come home with something new. If you come home with a new CRM, I'm going to kill you. And guess what I did?
I'm laughing because that's usually, you know, swipe the credit card, right? You know, let's try it out. You know, it's something new.
You're running a promotion. It was $1 for 60 days. Who wasn't going to try that?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Jamie, what's a legacy goal for you?
Oh, I love this. I love this part because I get goosebumps. So I'm on 3 boards right now, which I'm like, who is this person? I do most of in a perfect world, after Jacoby starts doing things, I just want to give back to the community. I do a lot of it now, but it's a juggle. And so having more people on my team allows me to do more of that. So that's a selfish reason for sure. Right now, if we go on vacation and we take Jacoby with us, we're kind of screwed. So we do need at least 2 more to get us over those humps. But that is really important to me. And I mean, you can sell houses, you have great clients, you love on these people, you make money, but at the end of the day, when you get to where you think you would be like, oh, this is great, there's still something missing. And I found that out. And so that's when I started doing more of that. So we do a great party every year that is started out as a client appreciation party. Now we invite realtors, lenders. I mean, we have title people and we do it's a big Christmas party, but we have a fundraiser aspect to it. So we do silent auction items and we have some raffle items. So we sell raffle tickets. We feed everybody and buy their drinks and they spend lots of money. And we, this year was the 12th year that we've done it. And we give back to WARM, which I don't know if you know what WARM is. It's Westerville Area Resource Ministry. And I've known a couple people that have needed their help and it's kind of special to me. So it feels good. Feels really good.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So I can make more, I can give more. That's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Last question for you. One piece of advice that you would give the audience, maybe that was given to you, maybe early on, maybe a coaching tip, mindset tip, you know, what would you share with an agent that's, you know, in the business and, you know, trying to get to that next level?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to get to know other agents. Yeah, we all compete against each other, but there's enough business out there for all of us, even in a market like this. You want to learn and get to know as many people as possible. You could be on the other side of that offer and listing and trying to say, hey, I'm okay. Look, I'm a normal person. I'm ethical. I'm honest. And if they don't know you, they might go with somebody else's offer that matches yours. So
Yeah.
don't be that way. Like, getting to know our industry and the people in our industry, there's so many good people. That would be one thing. And then I would say always be open to the next thing. Like, there's opportunities out there. We right now, the last 2-3 months, have been working with a custom builder, and we've had so much fun. Kenrick Fine Homes, I want to just little plug. They're out at Evans Farm. They're also in Oak Park in Dublin, which is right across from Jerome High School. We're waiting on some things to go through with the city to dig a hole to start, but we've got 10 lots right now. We'll probably have more, but he'll build on your lot. He'll build on his homes are incredible. So we are usually out at Evans Farm in a model every Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 5. So come see me. We're on Hickory.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jamie, thanks so much for your time today. Those that are watching, if you're a buyer, seller, investor, reach out to Jamie. Here in our market, if you guys are a real estate agent, obviously she's looking for great people to join, her team.
Who are coachable.
Key, right?
Yeah.
Don't
want to scare them, but
Yeah. Well, look, I always tell it, not every agent is meant to be on a team, and there's some agents that are meant to be, a lone wolf.
Absolutely.
But I do believe, just with our industry, that there are a majority of agents that need to be on a team. They just don't know it, right? And they're just maybe not willing to admit it either.
Usually it takes someone to doing this 2 to 3 years and finding out it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
We make it look easy. So.
Well, here's the thing. Being on a team is not a bad thing. I've been on a team my whole career. I'm going on 13 years straight, never left, so it's like, it's not a bad thing. It's just, one of those things in our industry, I think a lot, it just holds agents back. But Jamie, for those that may be, listening in on the podcast version on the audio, what is the best way for someone to connect with you, to maybe pick your brain or to hire you as their agent?
Yeah. So you can always call me or text me on my cell, 614-580-7000. And I'm also on Instagram, Jamie Maze Group. Maze and Company is also on there, or Facebook, same. Reach out. Let me know how I can help you.
Jamie, thanks again so much. And I look forward to connecting with you again in the future. And if I could do anything to help you guys out, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you any way I can.
Thanks.
All right. I'll talk to you later. See ya.